Hello and welcome back to another video. If you're looking for recommendations on what manhwa to read, then here are some that I've read recently that might be of interest. Manhwa titles are timestamped in the video for your convenience. Our first manhwa for today is This is the Law, a modern manhwa that I've currently read up to chapter 167 on. Its main character is No Hyung-jin, a lawyer that due to his decisions in life was eliminated, seemingly by people in Korea's upper society. King Yeomra, the judge of the dead, sees Hyung-jin and decides to send him back in time and with a special power to protect himself and others. That power in particular is defined as psychometry, the power to see memories of the subject he's in touch with, animate or inanimate. Waking up now back in the past, and actually now middle school aged, No Hyung-jin wants to correct what things he couldn't before, whilst looking for ways to battle the various injustices that are happening all throughout modern Korea. And the way to fight it, of course, is with the law. The story is 10 out of 10. Considering the initial context, the overall direction of the manhwa was a little ambiguous at first, but with enough breadcrumbs to see where it could possibly go. Unlike more directed manhwas though, this one takes more of an episodic approach to its storytelling, with each one adding a little bit more context or revealing more about the societal structure that Hyung-jin is living in, of course with the setting of modern day Korea. The characters are 8 out of 10. Due to this episodic nature though, and the aspect of No Hyung-jin's character being quite righteous, there isn't much more character development to be had. A lot of the focus is really on the cases themselves, their particular people, and circumstances, with just enough recurring characters and plot points to not confuse or overwhelm readers too much. The art is 8 out of 10 as well. Given the serious cases that are covered in this manhwa, there's a good amount of comedic relief, or at least moments that don't drag down the whole mood. It balances the tightrope between serious and funny moments well overall. My only gripe with it is about 129 chapters in, or dare say, there is a clear and distinct change in the art style that is very jarring, and honestly takes some time to get used to. But overall, it does try to keep the same overall mood. So if you're a fan of modern manhwas, and particularly those that focus on the lawyer perspectives, then This is the Law might just be a good manhwa to start reading. This next manhwa to take a look at is The Youngest Son of the Eunhae Sangdan, a Mura manhwa that I've currently read up to chapter 40 on. The protagonist is Eun-ho, the youngest son of a merchant group in a Murim setting. Our introduction immediately puts us into his shoes, but where his family is eliminated by unknown forces overnight. Somehow regressing back to the past though, Soho, usually quite the aloof and carefree individual due to his sickly constitution, wants to ensure that future never comes to pass. So he has to actually take action himself for once. What starts off as a regretful journey to make amends starts becoming a warmth-filled family atmosphere about the Eunhae merchant group and the Murim society that they inhabit. The story is 8 out of 10. Being part of a Murim merchant group isn't necessarily unique, and going through a regression to be a better son, brother, and leader is admirable at least. Their mix in this particular setting just has something to it that makes me invested and immersed in it overall. I just can't quite put my finger on it just now. The characters are 7 out of 10. Considering a regressed main character, Soho is quite regretful of his past life and is taking all of the proper measures he can to nudge things in the right direction to benefit his family first and foremost. At the same time, it wouldn't be a Mura manhwa without growing in personal power either, right? The art is 7 out of 10 as well. With only 40 chapters to its name, plus the overall concept not being unexplored territory, it's able to display a decent foundation that fits the genre it's landing on. A Murim action manhwa that clearly has more to tell given the mystery about Soho's roots. So if you're a fan of Murim manhwas and the merchant groups of that particular trope are what you enjoy, similar to Reincarnated Escort Warrior from my previous videos, then The Youngest Son of the Eunhae Sangdan is definitely fans of the genre territory for you. Surviving as a barbarian in a fantasy world is the name of our next manhwa to take a look at. It's a fantasy manhwa that I've currently read up to chapter 39 on. Katal is the name of its main character, and he is a barbarian that inhabits the White Snowfield region, a designated demon realm of the world that now he inhabits. There is one thing though about Katal that we need to know. is that he has been reincarnated into this world and is actually stuck in this particular region until he completes a quest given to him by some sort of system. A long time passes, and one particular encounter allows him to learn a little bit more about the world during this time. But after he's finally able to get out, what will he do? Considering he's now in a fantasy world that he wanted, what is his future goal? Oh, by the way, barbarians in this world are looked at like savages and uncivilized folks and usually quite violent. Our Katal, of course, isn't like that. The story is 7 out of 10. For an adventure-style story, there's definitely something here, but it's clearly still in the middle of bringing forward its foundation. Katal having the desire to explore the world, but do so one little mini quest at a time is admirable, but also quite normal for someone trying to live in a world that they reincarnated into, especially one that they enjoy. The characters are also 7 out of 10. By the way, if it wasn't apparent already from the intro, Katal is overpowered as all craziness. Nothing, at least so far, seems to give him any sort of trouble, but he enjoys the mundane and learning all he can, even with the quest from the Adventurer Guild that is looked down upon by all others. A truly respectable attitude to have. The art is 8 out of 10. Overpowered comedic action is the best way to put the tone of this manhwa. There isn't anything in particular that sets it apart, but it just immerses you into the world as if you were Katal due to his own attitude about it. I can't wait personally to read more. So if you're a fan of fantasy manhwas and also enjoy overpowered comedic ones in particular, then surviving as a barbarian in a fantasy world is a definite fit for you. Our shorter story for this week is the S-Class Butler, a modern manhwa that I can read up to chapter 14 on. The focus of this plot is on Kim Butler, a seemingly normal individual living in a version of modern-day Korea where VR games are the norm, and one particular one has taken the world by storm, making it even big enough that countries and lawyers and law are all part of the world we now live in, and it affects what you do in VR. Just for context, it's called Nexus Metaria with another world. Anyway, the name isn't important. What is important is that Butler was leading a raid when, at a pivotal moment, his cat, whom he adores very much, interrupts him and causes him to be liable for damages to all of the raid members and mercenaries. Now having to start from scratch all over again, he logs back into the game and, weirdly enough, he becomes the secret class Butler. And what to exactly? A somehow powerful cat-like being that seems to resemble his actual one in real life. The potential is 7 out of 10. VR game world taking over the world and it having an impact on real life is definitely a more common trope these days in today's manhwa space. This title in particular, though, has the main character be quite the cat lover to the point that he really just loves cats, knows everything about them, etc, etc, etc. Its peculiarity, though, is the fact that his cat is seeming to be actually playing VR? Okay, let's see where this one goes. The art is 8 out of 10. A fantasy game world is the primary setting, and so far it's par for the course. The really curious thing, and that's why it goes up a little bit in score for me, is what type of progression system is there for a cat, what skills, and like how does a VR game helmet allow a cat to play too? Theories just come to me. So if you're a fan of newer stories and enjoy modern manhwas all about the MMO game in their world, but with an interesting twist with a pet cat in particular, then keep an eye on the S-Class Butler. Welcome to the highlight portion of today's video. Our highlight today is I'm the Max-Level Newbie, which I've now read up to chapter 231 on. Info card description will have links to my original opinion. Kang Jin-hyuk is our main character. Quick recap, he was a person who completed a Tower of Trials game, then that game became real life, and he, being so obsessed, started climbing it expertly, of course. Considering it's over 230 chapters long now, there's a lot that has gone on, such as recruiting an elder vampire that became his familiar, getting close with individuals that rivaled, friended him over time, while not being overpowered in terms of strength. Jin-hyuk is quite meticulous and always seems to have plans ready to face any situation confronting him in the tower. At the same time, while overall a more slower pace, we get to see actual glimpses to what seems to be the higher tower as the residents or beings that are influencing the lower floors are taking more and more action to either benefit or eliminate Jin-hyuk and his ragtag group. My previous scores for this manhwa were 10 out of 10 for art and characters, then 9 out of 10 for story. The art and characters stay the same at 10 out of 10 as Honestly, the same strengths I pointed out from my previous video is still very much in effect. Comedic, intense action and situations that put both Jin-hyuk and his companions at risk, but somehow they're able to pull through in the end, at least for now it seems. It isn't always rainbows and butterflies though, as there are clearly moments that are unexpected and even cause Jin-hyuk to stress out, which instigates a resolve in him to not be complacent and to truly make it so that he cannot fail ever. The story for me has moved up to 10 out of 10. Since adjusting my expectations for this manhwa to transition into a more slow burn type pace, I've learned to really enjoy the moment-to-moment scenes that this manhwa depicts. It isn't just about getting to the end and Jin-hyuk probably clearing the Tower of Trials, but instead the journey and preparation it takes for him to get there. Of course, including all of his friends, both human and tower resident alike. The fact that we also get glimpses to the higher beings that are seemingly the ones facilitating the existence or conflict of the tower, just what will Jin-hyuk do once those beings choose to get more directly involved than they have even now? I'm the Max-Level Newbie is a manhwa title that I've been following even before this YouTube channel was created, and it's been a treat following it since then. I truly recommend this for anyone that enjoys action manhwas with enough comedy, story, and overall quality that at least I couldn't stop reading it. Would you agree or would you not? Comment down below your thoughts on I'm the Max-Level Newbie. Thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. Write down in the comment section down below what manhwa you've been reading and I might just take a look. Till next time though, have a good read.